Welcome to The Explainer. We love to take really complex documents and turn them into something you can actually understand. And today, we are diving deep into the official language of the world's biggest carbon crediting program. We're going to get to the bottom of the terms that are literally defining global climate action.
Okay, before we really jump in, here's a question you've probably heard thrown around. But could you explain it clearly? Well, stick with us, because by the end of this, you are going to know exactly what this means and why it is so important. All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to figure out who's behind all this. What is the VCS? Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty, the core concepts, and the key terms you need to know. After that, we'll look at how real-world projects actually make an impact, how the system protects itself from errors, and finally, we'll trace the life of a carbon credit from start to finish. So, first things first. To really get a handle on the language, you have to know who's writing the dictionary and why. This is the foundation, the bedrock that pretty much the entire voluntary carbon market is built on. So meet Verra. Think of them as the rule makers. They're a nonprofit, and their job is to set the global standards for all sorts of climate and sustainability projects, from protecting rainforests to developing new farming techniques. They're the ones who certify that the outcomes are real and have high integrity. And the VCS program, that's their main event, their flagship for the carbon markets. It is the specific rulebook that makes sure that 1 ton of carbon reduced in, say, Brazil, is measured and checked in the exact same way as 1 ton of carbon reduced in India. That consistency, well, that's what makes a global market even possible. It's what gives everyone confidence that this whole thing actually works. Okay, so now that we know who Verra is, let's break down the what. These are the fundamental ideas, the absolute building blocks of the entire system. Get these down and you'll understand pretty much any conversation on the topic. First up, we've got a reduction. This is all about prevention. It's about stopping greenhouse gases from ever getting into the atmosphere in the first place. Like shutting down a coal plant and building a solar farm instead. You are avoiding emissions that would have happened otherwise. Now, a removal is totally different. This is an active process of grabbing carbon dioxide that's already floating around in the atmosphere and then locking it away somewhere safe for a really, really long time. We're talking about pulling down the CO2 that's already up there. And this right here is the best way to think about it. A reduction is like turning off the faucet to stop the tub from overflowing. Super important. But a removal, that's grabbing a mop to clean up the water that's already spilled all over the floor. You see, you absolutely need both, but they are two very different jobs. Now, whether you have a reduction or a removal, once that climate benefit has been proven and double-checked against all the VCS rules, it becomes what's called a verified carbon unit, or a VCU. And 1 VCU represents 1 metric ton of carbon dioxide equivalent. That's it. This is the credit. This is the thing that can be tracked, sold, and used. So where do these VCUs actually come from? They don't just appear out of thin air, right? They come from real, on-the-ground projects doing incredible work all over the world. And the variety is huge. Let's just look at a few of the big categories. Okay, a massive category is what they call AFOLU. It's basically a catch-all for nature-based solutions. We're talking about things like afforestation, that's planting brand new forests where there haven't been any for a long time, or improving how we manage the forest we already have, or even changing how we farm to help the soil soak up more carbon. And inside that AFOLU world, you're going to hear this term a lot, REDD+. Basically, REDD+ projects are all about one thing, protecting existing forests that are in danger of being cut down. It's about keeping the massive amounts of carbon that are already stored in those vital ecosystems safely locked up. But hey, it is not all about nature. Technology plays a huge part too. You have geological carbon storage projects, which are pretty amazing. They capture CO2, maybe from a factory, and then inject it deep, deep underground into stable rock formations, essentially locking it away forever. Now, for any of this to matter, for this whole market to be trustworthy, there is one golden rule you can never, ever break. 1 ton of carbon can only be counted 1 time. That's it. So this next part is all about how the system builds in checks and balances to protect its own integrity. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If we can't trust the numbers, the whole system just falls apart. And Verra takes this incredibly seriously. In fact, they have a whole set of definitions just to tackle this one issue. And the big boogeyman here is something called double counting. It's kind of the catch-all term for when a single climate benefit gets counted more than once.
But it turns out there are a few different ways this can happen, and the VCS is designed to stop all of them. So you've really got three main risks. First is double issuance. That's when a project tries to get credits from two different registries. Verra's system prevents this. Then you have double use, which is like trying to spend the same dollar bill twice. The system stops that by giving every single credit a unique serial number that gets canceled once it's used. And finally, there's double claiming. That's where two different people try to take credit for the same good deed. The rules are designed to make it super clear who gets to make the claim. Okay, let's bring it all home. We're going to follow the complete journey of a VCU. We'll start with just an idea for a project and follow it all the way through until it becomes a real, verified climate claim that someone can stand behind.
It's a super robust four-stage process. First, an independent third party has to validate the project's design. Is the plan solid? Then, after the project has been running, they come back to verify the results. Did it work? If everything checks out, Verra issues the credits, and then finally, to actually use it, the credit has to be retired so it can never, ever be used again.
So think of validation as the forward-looking check. It's like having an engineer look over the blueprints for a skyscraper before you even start building. They check all the math, all the assumptions, to make sure the plan is actually sound and follows the rules. And verification, well, that's the inspection after the building is built. The auditors come in, they look at all the data, all the evidence, and they confirm that the project actually did what it said it was going to do. It's all about proving the results are real. And this last step, retirement, is the mic drop. It is absolutely crucial. Retiring a VCU is like stamping a check paid after you've cashed it, or ripping up a concert ticket after you've seen the show. It's taken out of circulation forever. This is the mechanism that guarantees a climate benefit is only claimed once, and it's the foundation of the whole system's integrity. So there you have it. We've decoded the language, and it's pretty clear these aren't just buzzwords, right? They're the carefully crafted gears in a machine designed to channel billions of dollars into real climate solutions with confidence. And that leaves us with one final, pretty big question. Now that we all share this common language, how can we use it to be bolder, to move faster, and to really accelerate our shift to a sustainable world?